I'm Sonia LeRoy, and today I want to talk to you about what you need to know about the First Home Savings Account. Explore its key features, opportunities, as well as who stands to benefit. You can now sign up for the First Home Savings Account through our team at LeRoy Wealth Management Group. This innovative account combines the advantages of tax-free savings accounts and registered retirement savings plans, giving you a strategic edge in preparing for your home ownership journey. The First Home Savings Account has an annual contribution limit of $8,000 and a maximum lifetime contribution limit of $40,000. Similar to RRSPs, contributions are tax-deductible, offering valuable tax savings. You do not need to have any available RSP contribution room in order to be able to make First Home Savings Account contributions. You can diversify your investments across mutual funds, stocks, bonds, exchange-traded funds, guaranteed investment certificates, and more, in accordance with your own financial planning needs, all without worrying about taxes on gains, either while the account grows or in the future. Upon withdrawal to build or buy an eligible home, no tax is paid, either on your principal or the accumulated growth, and you never have to pay the money back. To qualify to open and contribute to a First Home Savings Account, you simply need to be a resident of Canada, at least 18, and not more than 71 years old, and not have been an owner of a home that you lived in for the past 4 years. Now let's talk about the contribution rules. The annual $8,000 limit applies to a calendar year, and contributions made in the first 60 days of the following year are not deductible in the previous year, unlike for RRSPs. So, the year end is the date to pay attention to when making First Home Savings Account contributions. Unused contribution amounts carry over to future years, providing flexibility in your savings strategy. However, unlike for RRSPs, your annual First Home Savings Account contribution room won't begin to carry over until a First Home Savings Account is actually opened. Let's look at an example to explain. 2023 was the first year First Home Savings Accounts became available to Canadians. If you opened a First Home Savings Account in December of 2023, and then your allowable contribution room in 2024 is going to be $14,000, consisting of a fresh $8,000 for 2024, in addition to the $6,000 of unused contribution room left over and carried over from 2023. If, on the other hand, you open your First Home Savings Account this year, in 2024, your 2024 contribution room will only be $8,000. Now let's consider the withdrawal rules. Once a First Home Savings Account is opened, you will have 15 years in which to use the money toward the purchase or build of your first home. This 15-year time frame is the reason you are given the choice as to when to open a First Home Savings Account. You control when your $8,000 of contribution room begins to accrue, as well as when the clock starts ticking on the 15-year withdrawal limitation to make an eligible tax-free withdrawal. But what if you decide not to buy a home within 15 years, or ever? Home ownership is not for everyone. And at this stage of your life, you may not even yet know if home ownership will be the right opportunity for your lifestyle or budget down the road. Not to worry. If you do not end up using the money in your First Home Savings Account for a first home purchase, you are able to transfer the accumulated funds, tax-deferred, into an RRSP. Once inside the RRSP, your money will then continue to be able to grow tax-free until you are ready to withdraw it for any purpose, ideally later in life when you are earning less taxable income, which could be retirement, semi-retirement, or during a period when you may not be working, such as an unpaid parental leave. With the first home savings account, there is some fine print to consider. The rules for being considered an eligible first-time home buyer are slightly different when it comes to opening a first home savings account versus making a withdrawal down the road. Remember, in order to open a first home savings account, you cannot have been an owner of a home that you lived in as your principal residence, or lived in a home that your spouse or common law partner owned, or that you jointly owned within the past 4 years. In order to make an eligible tax-free withdrawal to make a home purchase, you must not have lived in a home that was your principal place of residence that you owned or jointly owned within the past 4 years. Notice the difference? In opening a first home savings account, you could have a partner who does not qualify as a first-time home buyer because they owned a home they lived in, either currently or within the past 4 years. But you could still open and contribute if you had not lived in that home that your partner owned. But later, in order to withdraw from a first home savings account, it is only you that must not have owned or jointly owned a home that you lived in. So, if at the time of withdrawal you have lived in a home that your partner owned, but that you were not also an owner of, then you are eligible to make a tax-free withdrawal. For example, if you move into a home owned by your partner, but that you do not also own, it would no longer be possible at that point to open a first home savings plan. But if you already had a first home savings account prior to moving in, then you would still be eligible to withdraw from that first home savings account in order to purchase or build a qualifying first home. Another fine point to remember, first home savings accounts are not just for first-time home buyers. The definition of first time for the purpose of these accounts is not in the previous 4 years. The first home savings account is not the only game in town when it comes to saving for your first home, but in my opinion, it's the best one. There is another plan specifically designed for first-time home buyers, the RSP Home Buyers Plan. This plan allows you to withdraw up to $35,000 tax-free from your RRSP towards the purchase of a first home. But the money withdrawn has to be paid back into your RRSP over the following 15 years, or it becomes taxable after all. In addition, your contributions are dependent upon having RRSP contribution room. Of course, contributions to RRSPs are tax deductible, as they also are in the case of first home savers accounts. Tax-free savings accounts are also a good way to save for a new home. As in the case of RRSPs and first home savings accounts, your savings in a TFSA grow tax-free. And withdrawals can be made tax-free from TFSAs, just like for first home savings accounts. Unlike for the home buyers plan, however, you don't have to pay the money back. But unlike first home savings accounts or RRSPs, with TFSAs, no tax deduction is granted on contributions. In summary, first home savings accounts have all the best advantages of the RRSP home buyers plan and TFSAs, offering an additional contribution limit and tax-free growth potential, no tax to pay on withdrawals ever, and no repayment requirement. Given the high cost of home ownership these days, an $8,000 annual first home savings account contribution limit may seem modest. But consider, $40,000 can be saved over 5 years in a first home savings account. Your partner can do the same. This money can then be invested, earning tax-free compounded income for up to 15 years. And your $40,000 each in contributions will have generated $40,000 each in tax deductions, applicable at your marginal tax bracket. That tax savings could then be reinvested inside a tax-free savings account, providing additional tax-free compound growth potential. Or you could invest your first home savings tax savings in an RRSP if you have the contribution room available, and then, in turn, invest that tax savings from your RSP deduction into your TFSA for additional compound tax-free growth. Consider this example of a young couple saving for a home. They each earn close to the average Canadian salary of around $65,000 and pay a 30% marginal tax rate. If they each deposit $8,000 to a first home savings account for 5 years, invested for an average 5% rate of return, their first home savings account could grow to $46,415 each in 5 years. Over 15 years, the magic of compound growth would make each first home savings account worth $75,605. And their tax savings each year, if they were able to deduct their first home savings account contributions at a 30% marginal tax bracket, can then be reinvested into an RRSP, presuming they have the contribution room available, resulting in even more savings. Then the tax savings from their RSP contributions can be further reinvested into a tax-free savings account, with all of this money earning and compounding tax-free. If two people each save just $8,000 for 5 years in a first home savings account in this manner, and then buy a first home together, withdrawing from their first home savings accounts, the RSP homebuyers plan, and the accumulated growth of their tax-free savings accounts, $142,958 could become available towards their build or purchase after a 5-year period. And if they waited 15 years, that amount, assuming that hypothetical 5% interest rate, could grow to $228,974. All as a result of saving just $8,000 per year, or $667 a month each for 5 years. Of course, if they each have sufficient RSP contribution room, they could reinvest the tax savings generated by their RRSP deductions into more RSP contributions rather than a TFSA, and thus have even more money available towards their home. What if your taxable income is not high enough to benefit from the tax deduction offered by a first home savings account or RSP contributions? There is no rule requiring you to deduct your RSP or first home savings account contributions in the year you make them. Contributions can be saved and accumulated to deduct down the road when you may have a higher taxable income and could benefit from a higher tax deduction. In the meantime, your contributions can still grow tax-free. First home savings accounts provide an attractive strategic option for saving toward your home ownership goals. And remember, you can always transfer your first home savings account savings to an RRSP or a RIF if your dream home remains elusive. To sum it up, the First Home Savings Account opens an exciting avenue for first-time home buyers to strategically save and invest in their home ownership journey. Reach out to our team at LeRoy Wealth Management Group to start a conversation about how a first home savings account can help you or your loved ones save for a dream home. Stay tuned for more insights on first home savings accounts, responsible investing, and other financial planning need-to-knows. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for further updates. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. First home savings accounts are available through Sonia and Adrian at the LeRoy Wealth Management Group. We are always here to guide you on your journey to home ownership. Until next time, happy savings.